See, y'all think I be playing when I tell y'all I'ma keep on bringing you this no-skip content. Y'all think I be playing when I tell y'all it's each one teach one. Y'all think I be playing when I tell y'all I'm gonna keep on spreading this information, sharing this knowledge, and bringing y'all value every single time that notification goes ding on your phone, letting you know a new Truck and Hustle episode is live. Listen, y'all, October 15th is coming up, and everybody knows what that is, right? That's a tax deadline for everybody who filed an extension. I reached out to the trucker's accountant, Mysherri Rhodes. Mysherri and myself sat down and talked about everything taxes. So y'all don't want to miss this episode. We had a good time, and she shares a lot of information and gives tons of value. All right? So put your ears on, and if you smell something burning, it's only your desire. Yeah, I'm hype. Let's go. What's up, y'all? This is Ramel Watley, and welcome to Truck and Hustle, the podcast for trucking entrepreneurs. If you want to learn about the trucking industry from the business side of things, you're in the right place. Every week, I interview the people who are making it happen on a daily basis. I get them to share their successes, their failures, and sometimes even their secrets. The goal is to show you how you too can create financial freedom in the booming trucking industry. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
That you have to think about. In LLC, you don't necessarily need all those things. So just to get your footing to start off, you can do an LLC, and then later on, you can fill out a form where your LLC can get taxed as an S corporation.
Turn my mic up. Take it there. On the road to the riches. Life takes a toll like bridges. Good friends become foes and snitches. Better watch who knows in your business. So first of all, I thought that this show was very important, being that October 15th is coming up, right?
Yes.
The extension. So I think this is a show that is kind of like right on time, and it's definitely going to be needed. And I'm sure that, you know, our listeners, the listeners could gain a lot of value from it. So, you know, when I did, you know, reach out to you and I discovered you, I said, oh man, this is like a blessing in disguise, because this is exactly what's kind of needed for the timing, you know?
Yeah,
So,
I definitely agree.
So I want to just kind of, typically, you know, when I talk to people, I just kind of get into their story, kind of just learn about them a little bit. And I want to do that with you as well. But I also want to ask you some more pointed questions too, so that the listeners could get as much value out of this as possible. You know what I mean?
Perfect.
So that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
All right. So I'm here with Mysherri Rhodes, right? I pronounced that correctly?
Yes.
All right. And you call yourself the trucker's accountant, right?
Yes, I am the trucker's accountant. Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. So talk to me about how you became the trucker's accountant. Tell me a little bit about yourself, growing up, your backstory. Give me some of the backstory of Mysherri.
Okay, I am originally from Chicago, born and raised south side of Chicago.
Charette.
Exactly. That's
Okay.
why I live in Georgia now.
Oh man. Is it really like that? Like, is it as bad as they make it out to be, or is that all propaganda? Or is it like seriously like?
Absolutely, it is.
Oh man.
It is.
Wow.
And, I find myself when I go back home, I wasn't like this before. When I was a kid, there was always an uncle or a cousin where they can be like, oh, that's such and such cousin. That's such as, like, that doesn't exist anymore. Like,
Right.
Like you can't even be protected by someone that you know. Or I feel like I had people too, even though it was things that was going on, you know, drug dealers on the corner, whatever the case may be. I felt like I was still protected by those individuals. I wasn't necessarily like prey.
Okay.
So when I go back now, I'm like, oh, my husband, we're both from Chicago, and I remember him. We went to Italian Fiesta.
Right.
And he hops out the car, and he leave me in the car, and I'm from Chicago, right?
Right.
My pulse started beating. Okay, somebody walked by, and I'm like, I hit the locked door. But it was my husband. He's like, are you really locking the doors? You're from here? I'm like, man.
Wow.
No, I didn't even know that I wasn't ready. I didn't know. You know, you think that you could go back home, and I went back home that one time. I was like, oh.
Right.
All right.
Things were different.
Yeah, things were different. Things looked different. Things felt different. So Yeah,
But
I'm
you know
like,
what?
yeah.
But the thing is, I hear Chicago's such a beautiful city, though. Like and that's the weird thing. Like people who go there, they're like, man, like if you look at the landscape and everything, like it's beautiful out there. Like, and I guess the way it's set up is kind of like you'll be in like a nice metropolitan area where
Mhm.
everything is safe, and then you like walk a block away, and all of a sudden you in O Block somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
And
Like
Chief Keef
I,
is shooting at you. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's vital. Like I grew up on 61st and King Drive, where you
Oh,
cross the street and you can be in university, and then the next thing you know, you in the hood.
wow.
So, from my perspective, I really didn't get to visit and see Chicago. So I've been trying to go back. When I go back and show my kids, I try to show them the pretty part of Chicago, because I didn't grow up seeing what Chicago was.
You saw
I
the hood.
saw, yep, that's all I saw. So when I got my chance to get out, I was like, deuces.
Got you.
So I still need to go and be a tourist.
Okay. Nothing wrong being a tourist. Take as many pictures as you like. All right.
Mhm.
So born and raised in Chicago. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm here now in Atlanta, Georgia. Well, outside of Atlanta, I'm in the metro area in Douglasville, Georgia. I've been here for about 10 years now.
Okay.
So I mean, I've been here a while. Like after I graduated college, I was like, it's either go back home
Right.
or go somewhere where I don't know the hood. I won't go back to it.
Got you.
So
So where'd you go to college? Where'd you go to school?
I went to Illinois State University.
Okay, Illinois State University, and obviously you studied accounting.
Not at all.
Get out of here. Okay, not so obviously. All right. Well, what happened?
I studied parks and recreation. So I thought that I was gonna go and
That's the TV show, right? Is that like a real thing? What is that? What's Parks and
no,
Recreation?
it's event planning and working for park districts.
I knew that. I was just messing with you. But go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay. So, in my head, I was going to go and do that. And honestly, I was too afraid to get a business degree. I'm going to be honest with you. I just always believed that my grades, I needed a 4.0.
Okay.
So I was afraid of the business major. I was like, no, I don't need to do that. Meanwhile, I am budgeting my friends' books, showing them how to get financial aid. I worked for the financial aid office the entire time I was there.
Okay.
So I guess it just, you don't know your calling, I guess.
Understood.
So I was like, no, I'm gonna pass this. I'm gonna get the good grades, and then I graduate, and then I'm like, how much do Park District make? So just how much they make, and then I got to be around kids all this time. It caused me to reevaluate.
Okay.
I started working for a bank.
Okay.
And absolutely love like the numbers and helping people out. It was just like, I don't know, you get that tingly feeling.
Yeah.
And I'm still helping my friends out. All I do is talk about budgeting and everything like that.
Okay.
So then I decided to go get my master's degree.
Okay.
And I started off in project management is what I was going to do. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do project management. And I thought it was okay until I took an accounting class. And I was like, ooh, I like this. I like this a lot. And then I took finance class and I was like, oh, this is, so I changed my major.
Okay.
Completely changed my major to finance. So I have an MBA in finance.
Ah, dope.
Yeah. And,
okay.
So while I was in school.
Applaud you for that. That's big.
Thank you.
No doubt.
So while I was in school, I started being a stay-at-home mom. And I was like, okay, my daughter, you just don't want to talk to kids no more.
Okay.
So I started doing taxes because I wanted to get out the house and talk to big people.
Okay, got you.
But once I started doing it, I realized I loved it. Like, eat, breathe, sleep. And I'm like, ooh.
Really?
You tell me you make that much money, but if I can move that around, do this like this, like.
Right.
I don't even know how to explain. I don't want to say I don't break the rules. I find legal tax loopholes.
Right.
It brings me much joy to find those loopholes and get people tax liability down. Like, oh, you owe 30,000, but look what I can do, 10,000.
Got you. So you just started doing taxes. So you didn't really take the traditional accountant's route to where you go to school, become an accountant, like get a CPA type of thing. Like you actually just started learning to do taxes on your own.
Yes.
Got you.
On my own, just as a spare time thing, just thinking, okay, I can just do this just to get out the house. And I absolutely fell in love with it. And then I was doing that while I was doing my master's degree. My master's degree, it started to correlate with it. I didn't even know that it went together. And my professor was like, you know, this is good. This is what you need to be doing. I was like, no, you know, like I like taxes, but I don't, you know, not like for a career.
Right.
Yeah. So I was very hesitant at first. And then I started just seeing how much I was helping people. So my husband is in the transportation industry also.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I've always done taxes.
Okay.
Always done taxes. But I would do his taxes, get his stuff together, and then he would say, well, can you help such and such out? Can you help such and such out? And I was like, okay, I'll help him out. And that's when I realized that the trucking industry, excuse my French, is fucked up.
Right.
Like drivers, you guys are out there driving and you have no clue of what's going in, what's going out, how to just say, okay, you just think, let me just drive more miles. But sometimes it's not always about driving that extra mile. It's about taking a step back, looking at your profit and loss statement and seeing what the industry standards are. Is your business profitable?
Right.
How are you going to move forward? Is it even worth going for?
Right. Absolutely. Okay. So you just made the correlation. So I was going to ask you, how did you become the trucker's accountant? But your husband is in the transportation industry. So obviously you made that connection there, and then you started building relationships through your husband, I guess. And you kind of.
And before I know it, people were reaching out to me. They're like, oh, I heard. And I'm like, no, you know how you start off like, no, I just did such and such.
Right.
I'm over here. I'm not really trying to do that. And then before I know it, it was like, okay, well,
right.
I guess, they like, I heard you do truckers taxes. I was like, okay, I guess I do truckers taxes.
That's dope. I like that. So how long have you been the truckers accountant? How long have you been doing like a trucking accountant specifically in this particular niche?
About 5 years.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Dope. So what are some of the things that you see often, through your experience in doing taxes for truck drivers? What are some of the things that you see that you point out on a regular basis? Like when truck drivers come to you, like the first thing you always catch, like, oh, you need to do this.
The number one thing is, do you have a business bank account?
Okay.
And some truck drivers is like, nah, I'm running through personal. We're like, oh no, we need to separate that. Like you need to be able to separate that, because you don't want the IRS coming for your personal items.
Okay.
So that's one of the things. And then another one would be, hell, truckers are just not filing their taxes. Like I talk
pushing it off, just pushing it off.
Yeah, like, oh no, I ain't filed since 2009. Like, you got to be kidding me. Like, and that's a real thing. Like,
right.
People do 2 years, a year. Like, they just out here living.
Just living like some outlaws.
Pretty much. And I'm
no doubt.
With the trucking industry, everyone is going to produce a 1099.
Right.
So you can't just live it under the radar, because the IRS will get that 1099. The documentation is there.
Right.
So you're not getting over on the IRS.
Right.
They see it. They're not saying nothing. So they're going to wait till all these penalties and interest accruals. And then it's like, oh no, you owe us $50,000 on top of the $20,000 penalty. We need it now, or we're going to take your license.
No doubt. All right, so check it out. So for someone just getting into the game, let's try to set them off on the right track, right? Let's say somebody is listening right now and they're saying, man, I don't want to, have all these pitfalls. I don't want to make all these mistakes. So the first thing I got to do is I got to get my set up my business, right? I got to establish my business formation. So from your experience, what do you recommend as far as formations? Because we have, we obviously have LLCs. There's different types of LLCs, S Corps, C Corps. what do you recommend? I know you're not a lawyer, you're not giving anybody, legal advice, but what have you seen works from a tax perspective?
Okay, so I like the way you said, I am not a lawyer. This is not advice. This is just from what I have seen. I noticed that a lot of truckers, they want to start off and they want to be a corporation right off bat. What I would say for that is that a corporation, most of the time, it's appealing because you're getting taxed at a 20% rate. That's it.
Okay.
When you're first starting off in trucking, we all know trucking, the expenses could be over 70%. So a lot of times you're worried about being taxed at that 20% rate, but most of the time you guys are not making that much money yet. So I personally, like, you can always start off as an LLC and upgrade.
Okay.
Also, an LLC doesn't necessarily require you to have an employee. So if you're in a corporation, you have to have at least one employee. And an employee does not consist of a 1099 truckers.
Okay.
An employee is W-2, which means that you're paying Social Security tax, Medicare tax. You have to pay all of that for your employee. You have to have a board of directors. There's so many things that you have to have, and a lot of people don't have them. That you have to think about. In LLC, you don't necessarily need all those things. So just to get your footing to start off, you can do an LLC, and then later on, you can fill out a form where your LLC can get taxed as an S corporation.
Okay, got you. And an S corp is what reason would you change to an S corp? What are some of the tax advantages for going into an S corp?
Okay, so if a trucker is trying to buy a home, you guys are out there and you can't really prove your income. That's when you go and you set yourself on that W-2. That way you can prove your income coming in. If you are grossing like $250K, you got several trucks where your tax liability is more than that 20%. Now you're like, okay, I need to section this off. I need to separate myself. Okay. But that's only when you have reached that point, and you have to hit certain markers where, okay, it makes sense to do it.
Okay. Got you. So for the people who are new to the business and don't understand, could you kind of explain like the difference between, or if there's a difference between like a sole proprietorship LLC and actually being like a 1099 or independent contractor? What's the difference from a tax perspective?
Okay. So from a tax perspective, if you are a sole proprietor, that just means that it's just you in the business. There's no separation. That's just you. You are the business. If someone comes to sue you, they're suing you and your home and your business. It's just you. Okay. A LLC or a partnership. With a partnership, you can separate it. I'm separate from my business. This is my home. This is my business. You can separate the two. Okay. Where someone comes to sue your business, they can't touch your home. Got you. Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about you said setting up the bank account, right? That was one of the early things you said. Guys got to make sure they set up their bank account. So what do you suggest as far as for saving? Like how some people use like QuickBooks, or some people use like Excel spreadsheets. Like how do you suggest that truckers keep track of their finances? Okay, so I preach that you have to keep track of it. There is no right or wrong way, especially to begin with, because the problem isn't the softwares that's out there. The problem is you guys are not doing it. So even if you want to start with the basics, start with the basics. If that means that you're taking a little envelope each month and you're counting out all of your receipts. Now that's that's old school way, but if that's what works for you, at least you're doing something. Okay. Some people can do apps. For people who are signed on to carriers, you can have your weekly settlement, but that cash out of hand, you want to make sure you're documenting that, because those are the little things that fall between the cracks. Okay. So I personally like QuickBooks. So it just depends. I'm actually looking for softwares that are great for trucking companies, because what I find is
I was going to ask you that.
QuickBooks is great for accounting.
Right.
Trucking, however, is a whole nother ball game. So when people sign on with me and we're doing bookkeeping and they're like, oh, I can just let go of my trucking software, I'm like, no, because the trucking software is going to get you the information you need per truck, per what each truck is doing. It's going to get you those statistics.
Okay.
However, I haven't been able to find a trucking software, and I'm researching one now. I'm literally researching one. They reached out to me, so I still got to check it out.
Okay.
But I haven't found a trucking software that can give you the accounting capabilities.
Okay.
If I want to run my reports to see just accounting, like not just profit and loss, it's not, the whole spectrum of accounting is not just profit and loss.
Okay.
You have to have your balance sheet. You have to be able to reconcile your bank account. You have to be able to know what's going in, what's going out. And I haven't found a trucking software that is able to do all of the things that QuickBooks does and is done what it needs to do for trucking.
That may be something that you can create.
I'm working with someone. This individual has a software that he's like, test it out. I'm gonna test it out, and if it is it sounds very promising. So if it is what it is, I would definitely post it on my page, because this would be a great
asset. So what do you find most guys, the trucking software that most guys are using now, what do they usually come to you with? Or do they come to you with anything at all?
Yeah, they're not. I don't want to throw the truckers under the bus.
Okay.
But they're like, oh, well, I use Excel. And you know what I call Excel?
What do you call it?
After the fact bookkeeping.
Okay. All right.
So you don't know at any given time what you're doing. Most of the times people are not using their Excel like they should. You're putting in the numbers and you haven't had a time to evaluate it real time.
Okay. Got you. All right. Let's talk about profits and loss, right? Your Schedule C, right? That's what everybody's really that's what everybody really cares about when it comes to taxes, because they want to save as much money as possible. They want to deduct as much things as possible. What are some things that truck drivers would be surprised about that they can actually deduct, that they probably would be like, oh, wow, really? I could deduct that as well? Or maybe not even surprised about. What are just some things that, that you come across that's just interesting? Like, you could deduct this, you could deduct that.
I will say, like, per diem. All truckers know about per diem. That's right. Like one thing that they know.
Okay.
One of the things that I'm like, well, how much did it cost to park your truck? And they're like, oh, well, I didn't realize that parking my truck could be an expense, because it's not something that's usually taken out from the carrier. It's something that, let's be honest, some of our truckers, they're doing it under the table. So they're like, oh, I just paid a guy cash. And I'm like, but no, that's deductible. That is a business expense. Right. Bank fees.
Okay.
Bank fees,
That's a good one. Yeah,
bank fees. You don't even
think about that.
Right. So when I ask the truckers to send me all of their expenses for the year, those are some of the things I'm looking at, because maintenance, fuel, but bank fees, parking, and then those little things like, so say if you're at the truck stop and something is required to be paid in cash. Okay. And you just pop out and you do the cash and you forget about it. Right. Well, a whole year of doing trucking where you just popping out $5 here, $10 here, that could add up. Right. So. Right. No, definitely. Now with the per diem, is there like a state standard with the per diem as it comes to deductions? There is a state standard. Every state is different, but on a federal level right now, I hate to say they just passed the law. They just did it like last week at $66. That's the standard rate. But I always say, you never know. They can change stuff. Like
Right.
last year, with Trump being in office and they took away the per diem for the company drivers, that happened like in tax season. Like they backdated it. So
Right.
I don't even like to quote what it will be, what it could be.
Right. Well, in your experience in the last 5 years, do you think it's favored the drivers more in what you've seen, or not really?
Okay, so the last year, with the Tax Act,
Yeah.
the implementation of the Tax Act,
Okay.
I feel has screwed the drivers.
Okay, get into
drivers.
Get into that a little bit. Talk about that, because many people may not know about the Tax Act.
Okay, so with the Tax Act, we know you're no longer able to claim employee expenses. So say if you were doing some things because of your job, you were doing it, but they didn't reimburse you for it.
Okay.
You can go ahead and put those on your taxes because they're not reimbursing you, so you can count it on your taxes.
Okay.
Well, with the Tax Act, it cut it off.
Okay.
No one can claim these unreimbursed expenses. So for an individual, that may not be that bad, but we're talking about company drivers who are claiming per diem about being on the road.
Right.
So that pretty much, it takes the per diem out for company drivers, for individuals who are W-2, not for individuals who are 1099. Got
you. Okay, so that's the employee side. So what about for owner operators or individuals who own their own business, 1099 guys? Any has it gotten what have you seen?
It's kind of you still get the same deductions, you still get the taxes, you get all of the per diem. I would say, if anything, it's kind of benefited individuals who are in the higher tax bracket.
Okay, and why is that?
Because your president is in that tax bracket.
Oh, okay. He looking out for the cookout, huh? Okay.
Correct. So like for the S corporations, people want to be S corp because you get taxed at a set rate. You get taxed at a set rate.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, I was just talking to someone about this. It's kind of like he's kind of encouraging for you to start your own business. I don't want to say encouraging, but the people who have their own businesses have the tax benefits. There is no wiggle room for people who are just going and doing a 9-to-5. It is what it is. These are your taxes. Pay them, please, and thank you.
Right. So that's an interesting point you bring up. So do you encourage your drivers who are employees to start their own business?
Talk about a side hustle.
You're seeing a transfer of money, right? From both ends, from multiple guys and multiple samples, right? So you can actually like make a really good educated decision on this based on the data. So when you so getting all this data in, like what's your advice? You may not give it to them, but if you were able to pull somebody to the side, like what do you tell them?
Start a side hustle.
Because this is Truck and Hustle. We encourage entrepreneurship here.
Yeah.
100%.
It's like, because that's where the tax deductions are. So, I can't be giving out that advice. Call me for a consultation.
Okay. So there y'all have it. Y'all heard enough. That's where the tax deductions are. We ain't gonna put it all the way out there, but that's something we got to hit you up directly for, and we're gonna make sure that everybody hits you up directly. So that's dope. All right. So I have a question for you. So this is one of my listeners actually asked this question. I put out like a little bit of a poll, and they asked me this, so I'm gonna ask you. All right. So they said, should an owner operator who is leased on to a company have the carrier pay them personally, or pay their business and then the business pays them as an individual?
I would suggest paying the business, because we talked about separating your personal from your business. if the company is paying you in your personal name, that means that you're technically a sole proprietor. That's what it looks like.
Okay.
And if you're a sole proprietor, that money is coming to you in your name. If someone is to sue you, then here, like they have access now to your personal information. So you always just want to separate it, and not saying that, you want to be able to separate yourself. Not saying that we are not going to go out of business in the trucking industry. We all know that it.
Right. Ain't going nowhere.
Right. But what happens if you just want to start over?
Right.
Want to start over, you decide that, I had a partnership and this partnership is no longer good for me, or this business is no longer good for me, but it's tied to your social.
Okay.
What happens? Or if it's tied to an EIN,
right.
You step away.
Right.
So those you should, it doesn't hurt in the moment, but if you're thinking strategically in the long run, how do you want to do it? Those are some things you think about.
Got you. Are there any type of special deductions given to specific types of drivers that you know of?
That would be the per diem that everyone knows about. That
okay.
They're like, yeah, yeah. So that's pretty much like the government is saying, we know that it's a lot to track all of your food and your lodging. We're going to give you the standard rate.
Got you. Okay, cool. All right, so if I'm just getting started in business, I'm a driver. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna start my business, do my little side hustle, and I want to get off on the right foot. What would be your advice to me?
File your taxes on time.
Okay.
But no. I would say my biggest thing, because I know we're starting off with trucking, you want to keep your books to know where you're at. So if you're making a profit, you want to be paying your quarterly taxes.
Okay.
So that you don't get caught up in the whirlwind and just knowing that you are a 1099 now. All that money's not yours.
Right.
So you gotta set aside. I always say set aside at least 20 to 30% just for taxes. Okay.
Got you. So pay those quarterly taxes quarterly in real life.
Yes, like for real in real life. And if you're not paying it and you're a person that want to wait, set the money aside so that you'll have it. So at the end of the tax year, you don't have that huge tax liability.
Got you. And do you feel that filing like for the extensions, does that impact you negatively at all? Or is that just pretty much, just give yourself more time to get organized and get things together? It's
literally just giving you more time. You file an extension, you still got the same tax penalties. You still have that deadline. So however long it takes you to keep getting your stuff together, you're still going to have that penalty, because regardless if you added your numbers up and it was $5,000, you still have to pay penalties on that $5,000 4 months from now.
Got you.
So, but if a person doesn't have all of their receipts together, and your receipts can now save you $10,000 with the trucking industry, we know that happens. It could be best for you to file the extension while you get your paperwork together, which is why it's very important to get your paperwork together on a consistent basis, so that we're not running around with like chickens with our head cut off at the end of the year, because that's essentially what happens.
Got you. What's the most fees you've ever seen somebody incur from not filing their taxes?
Ooh, okay. So $39,000 just from the state.
Wow. $39,000. And how long what was the duration of time that they didn't file?
6 years.
6 years. And how long does the state give them to pay that?
Right now, 4 months.
Oh my God.
4 months until you can set up a payment plan. And if you're not setting up a payment plan, they're suspending your license.
Wow.
And that's just the state.
Wow.
That's just the state. And honestly, the federal isn't taking action. But a lot of times people think that because the federal hasn't sent you a letter that you are like getting away scot-free. No, they're watching. So that's why I always say it's better to be proactive than reactive, because if you come to me, I can jog your memory and say, hey, remember you did that? You told me you did that. You know, how many parking do you have? What are your bank fees? I can't make you think back 6 years. 6 years is too long. And then truckers come to me and it's 6 years later and they're like, I don't got nothing. Fix it.
Right.
I can't fix that.
Right.
So that's why I'm always like, just do it now and rip the Band-Aid off now. Because if you do it now, you can get on a payment plan. You can potentially be able to think about what expenses and deductions you have because you can remember them. You wait till the last minute and you're in a panic. They want their money. You like, okay, I just got to give them the money, and then you may not have the money.
Got you.
So I cannot stress enough, because the trucking industry, I feel like y'all think y'all invisible. And it's one of the main industries that get audited, because you are the industry that has the 1099. Everyone else, I can have a business where I'm getting paid under the table.
Right.
You getting paid under the table. We know that's not legit.
Right.
But they getting paid under the table. No one's filing a 1099 on them.
Right.
The companies that you're working for, the brokers that you're working for, they're going to file a 1099.
All day long.
The IRS will have that.
All day long.
Exactly.
All day long.
So at this point, the best thing to do is to say, hey, I know you got that 1099 for 6 figures.
Right.
Let me show you all of my expenses that I have, so that I can knock my tax liability down about 70%.
Got you.
And when you also, what I guess people should know is that when you get in a tight bind with the IRS or the state, and they say you need to file your taxes, you owe this much, they don't give you any deductions. They press the button and they file them taxes. They don't ask you for any receipts. They don't ask you for anything. They're just like, oh, you made $500,000 in 5 years.
Right.
Owe us all of it.
Wow.
They're not asking you about anything. They're like, no, we gonna file it. You want to set up this payment plan, and that's what you got to do. And then another thing, you want to make sure that you're making the right amount of money. So if your 1099 doesn't match what you brung in, you want to be able to catch that. I had drivers who they said, oh no, the company they didn't report the right numbers on me. So then that would be fraudulent on the company's side. But I haven't, that's what they claim. I haven't seen that.
Right.
Then once I go into investigate, then they like, oh, I made that much money. Yeah, you made that much money.
Right. That's funny. So what's your relationship like with your clients? When you work with somebody, do you work with them on a monthly basis, at the end of the year when it's time to file their taxes? How do you work with your trucking clients?
I typically, it depends. For bookkeeping services, I actually sit down with my clients once a month, and we go over profit and loss statements, where I see them at, what decisions they should make, how to save. That's for my bookkeeping clients. For my tax clients, I send them email correspondence on a regular basis, and then I kind of do like a quarterly checkup on them. I call it my tax checkup.
Okay.
Do you have any big plans? What are you doing? Because say if you decide to want to buy a house, you need to go about filing your taxes different. If your child is going to school, you need to go there. There's some things that you want to be able to change. I always tell my clients, consider me your extended family.
Got you.
I may say some things you don't want to hear, but I need to know that I have your best interest at heart.
You're like the guardian angel on their shoulder.
Yes, I'm over here like, ooh, can we save some more money? Yeah.
Right. No doubt. That's great. All right. So if somebody wanted to work with you now, how would they reach out to you? What would that process be? I mean, are you booked? I mean, do you have time to file somebody's taxes before the 15th? What's going on with you right now?
Of course I have time.
Okay.
But
Okay.
Of course. I'm like links in the bio.
Right.
I have a YouTube channel, and it is at The Trucker's Accountant. I have a Facebook page, The Trucker's Accountant. Instagram is The Trucker's Accountant, and my link, you can book a 15-minute consultation. And basically, I walk through just to assess your business, see where you're at, walk you through the process, and just welcome you aboard and walk you through getting your taxes done. And yeah, just those free 15-minute consultations definitely get you taken care of.
No doubt. So listen up, guys. This is a specialist, not a generalist. You guys need a specialist, somebody who knows this industry, knows the ins and outs, and can get you the maximum amount of savings, keep you legit and keep your business running, more importantly. So you guys make sure you reach out to Mysherri. You just gave all your social media, right? It's pretty much a trucking accountant everywhere. And
exactly.
I'll make sure that I put all the links to all your social media in the show notes. Mysherri, is there anything you want to leave us with? Leave the truck drivers with before we get out of here, and I'll let you go back to doing some tax filing.
I know it is getting down to the wire.
I know it is.
Yeah, I just want to say that I help truck drivers pay the least amount of money in taxes, increase their cash flow and their fleets, all while staying in federal and state tax regulation. And that is a big deal.
That's a super big deal, yeah. Mysherri, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule.
I enjoyed this. At first I was like, what I'm gonna say? How I'm gonna say it? So, guys, if I said something that was wrong, don't judge me. Don't judge me. I'm a person just like you are.
Right. There's always a book or there's always a Bible to go back to and reference, man. We talk and we always got to double check ourselves. That's what an accountant does, right? We always check and then we double check. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So all day long.
That's why I'm like, what questions are you asking? I need to take notes.
And that's another thing. We freestyled everything. I didn't let her know what we were going to talk about. I said, listen, we're going to have a casual conversation and I'm just going to throw some things at you. And just and you just give the value like you gave. So I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right, you take care of yourself.
Look, I'm waving by like people can see me. See ya.
If you like what you heard, it's only gonna get better. Make sure you subscribe and leave us a comment. Let us know what you want to learn or hear more about. Till next time, love is love, truck and hustle.